So we have a little munchkin that has Erb's palsy. Please, at this point, be careful if you're going through traditional therapy because you're going to go after muscles, stretching and those kind of things. No, we need the movements to come first. Babies don't need to be stretched. They need to have rotational responses. And so that's what's going to create functional movements, and that's what we're after. Erb's palsy is kind of looked at as like a Bell's palsy, but it affects the brachial nerves more. So there's a brachial, and it's mild, doesn't need any intervention. Okay, this is where, first of all, when someone's assessing your child, they better physically be assessing you, not knowing about Erb's palsy, saying it should be mild, don't worry about it. I've gone through it with my son, and I see it go on all the time. And it might turn into, don't worry about it, but it might turn into not. Okay, what I'm already seeing is I'd really like you to look at my Tummy Time course. Now, what happens with the palsy is now you already have a freeze going on. This is different than, let's say, a cerebral palsy, which is more of a spasticity. So when the difference, let's say, when you're looking at cerebral palsy, but there's still a similarity, is I should be able to, or your baby should be able to go into active muscles and passive muscles to create weight transfer. Then that creates transitional skills through rotation, and then that goes into load lift variations. Okay, when the human body is using a muscle way before it's meant to, a purposeful muscle, like hold, what you call stiff, spasms, unresponsive, whatever the word is, it takes away that roadmap of weight transfer into transitional milestones, and then going into a load lift variations, right? What we look at milestones. We all want milestones, but it's sort of like, I want my car to go, but I don't care that it needs gas, right? Or tires and whatever. I just want my car to go. And I get that. We all want the car to go. But there's and that's the same with movement into milestones, right? So babies don't figure it out. They'll deviate. Okay? You and we've had enough experience, and we'll start to say, like, I need this to be done. What do I need? Do I need money? Do I need help? Do I need more education? What do I need? I need better skills. I need to practice, right? Those comes out. The babies don't think that way. If a baby goes to do a movement, any movement, whether it's just look at you in the face to touch you, right? Any movement. If that movement is impossible, now it could be because they're restricted because of a car seat or a swing or something like that, or it could be they're restricted just from their motor skills, right? So if they go to do this, and now they can't. So now they've got to go over here and get this arm to go over here. And that's where you start seeing deviations. Now, those deviations might look like, where we start saying dystonia or ataxia or all those kind of words, but that's not the point. The point is when your child has come into the world with an injury, right, they don't suddenly figure it out. So when a child is presenting, there's no such thing as mild. A child should be able to respond to anything because to them, there's no good touch and there's no bad movement, right? That's what's happening. When you have a palsy, now there's a deviation. Right? I can't extend, you can do, and they'll start using words like that. Well, the range of motion looks pretty good or something like that. There's no range of motion in a baby, right? That's for you and I. We move differently than babies. That's why we drive cars, So when you're looking at that, so why do I suggest a Tummy Time course? He doesn't have a good pubic bone strike. Any milestone that your baby is meant to have is through the pubic bone. That's the Tummy Time, right? And that's what they're going into, right? And because the way that the back is curving right off the bat, they're not learning their absolute horizon, which is a form of lying down that I've coined. It's a way where the system knows what's going on, and there's Tummy Time. That being said, when I'm saying that they're not going into it, this is where we have to go in and introduce those movements. So with the Tummy Time course is a great way to start with something like that. But I would actually be very aggressive is to helping your child with movement. Anybody who said that it shouldn't or it's mild enough, First of all, it shouldn't have happened. So we're here. Second of all, I do not want, even at 18, this child's trying to try out for collegiate baseball, which you're, or softball, and oh, it's probably because they had that. No, that's just not the point of life, especially when they're babies. So that's where I would go. I wouldn't even go to rolling over. Even though your child's older, I just think there should be a better foundation. And I do have some good videos working with torticollis, and that kind of thing. Brachial is a little bit different because what's different about the brachial, and you'll see that then going more into the rolling over course, because you want the child, as they're starting to roll, every midline needs to be crossed, not this midline. Every cell has a midline crossing, but all of that, so you're not going into preventing the fall, because there's just movements like the absolute horizon and tummy time that your child is just not being exposed to. It's not that they can't get it, they just can't be exposed to it, and that's a difference to movement. And so you're going to have to introduce the movements into the child. Like I said, I'll list the course for the links to go through that, but you have a right to be proactive on your child moving better. It's just that simple.